basically, I was just introducing myself and asked why I chose to volunteer today.
A little closer.
And I mentioned that as of late, I've just been trying to find volunteer events and trying to give more to the community. And I mentioned that the reason I've been doing that is just to kind of recharge my own personal battery for, like, I guess, hope for life, you know, for seeing community as
like giving
being
back.
engaged. Yeah, and like actually being communal. I mentioned that there's a lot of events that tend to be made for a specific social group or a specific, you know, group of people that sometimes when events are made, they're made for the purpose of community, and I'm enjoying today's event because I'm seeing the diversity, and it's that I like, and which is why I wanted to volunteer, and that's why I volunteer in community work, just simply because I see how the community comes together, and the community is a diverse community. It's not just the one race type of community.
Yeah.
And,
you mentioned diversity a couple of times. How has your experience of that evolved? Because it sounds like you were saying something along the lines of there's not always that diversity.
Yeah, so it's funny you mentioned that because I recently had an internship at the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Office at UCSB, which kind of showed me more of the importance of being inclusive and what it meant to be inclusive and the diverse set of people that are left out in certain conversations. So once I started to learn that, and I started to actually see it in events, that now when I actually do go to community events that promote that sort of inclusion and diversity, it warms my heart. It makes me remember why I do this sort of stuff, why I just try to give back as well, and I appreciate the work that all these nonprofits and all these other community organizing programs, how everybody does their part, you know? And
do you feel like art brings different communities together?
Yes. I haven't put much thought into it. However, I myself have a lot of tattoos, and that is one of those talking points. Yeah, and a lot of times people do approach me and, oh, what is this art, what does this tattoo mean? And then it goes in a lot deeper. Many of my tattoos have a lot of meaning behind them, and that's art itself. When the person makes an art, it's to try to express something. And a lot of the art that I walked by and saw today, you can feel that, you can see that, and you can see how each different art has something different that it's trying to portray. So with art itself, it's definitely something that makes the community look at something through a different lens. Or
definitely.
Yeah, and there's a lot of programs that I've been part of that have utilized art as a form of engaging the youth and bringing out the creativity, and then just having them collaborate to create something that is going to be long-lasting and impactful. And a lot of times it's it's not necessarily the outcome of the art, it's like the process of it, and then all of that gives that art the meaning behind it. You know?
Right. As humans, we were born to create, right?
Yeah. So that's recently, I just random little thought of art that I had, but definitely I have grown an appreciation towards art as of late. Yeah. And,
I love that. And so what do you feel about the art in this space specifically? What do you think it reflects about our community? Was there anything that stood out to you?
Well, there is actually 2 art pieces that were inside that I noticed that felt very embracing, in the sense there was one of I believe they're monkeys, and it's a whole bunch of monkeys balled up together, but you can see that they're hugging each other, and you have to really pay attention to it, because then you can see another monkey's on the back, and it's just the way it's
the longer you look at it, the more it comes
find
together.
A new monkey. Yeah, and there's another one with, I think it looked like some sort of native background of it. Like it had like the Olmec style, where it was like two different figures like embracing each other as well. So that just kind of comes back to the part of like embracement and acceptance, and I feel like that's what sometimes art does. It brings people together to look at something, and then that might be my interpretation, but that's the talking point. Now you get to talk to someone about what this means to you.
Right. It's almost as if it like brings us together in like a deeper level, right? Like we get to talk about things that we don't usually talk about.
Exactly, yeah. And I feel those two art pieces for me, that's basically...
So what did that monkey piece mean to you?
That kind of just... well, it was also... It had like a little bit of like... chaos behind it, you know, because it did look a little like... It
was like chaos and community.
Yeah, but still embracement, you know, like they were all compacted together, and it's just, again, like the more you look at it, the more you see how connected the community can be and is.
It makes sense with how much emphasis you have on community that specific piece stood out to you.
Yeah, and again, like I've never been that big of an art person, but just how you're pointing out these things of how I think and how I perceive that art piece, it's interesting for me to see how connected the mind is to art. And like going back to the mindfulness of this whole thing is
definitely
it makes you put things into perspective.
Yeah, definitely.
That I feel is definitely mindfulness.
Yeah, I think everyone's an artist, whether we consider ourselves one or not.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, thank you for sharing your story. Could you share your name as well?
Yeah, my name is Joshua.
Joshua, thank you for sharing today.
And thank you for having me here and listening to my story. I appreciate what you guys are doing here, and I'll tell more of my friends to come to more of these events to share their stories.
Yeah, tell them to come through. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
We have all received a gift. An expected or anticipated gift for a birthday, anniversary, retirement. Each time we receive that gift, whether it meets our expectation, we feel something. Happy, sad, disappointed. The gifts that are unexpected, unconditional, small or large, have the potential of changing the trajectory of a life. Someone pays for your groceries when you're out of money, leaves you a big tip just when you think you can't afford your rent. Those are the gifts that ease our fears, make us grateful, and want to help others. This is a space where we share how those gifts, big or small, make a difference and change our lives. Welcome to the Starfish Connection.